What is up? And welcome to Ask DLF. I am on location, not broadcasting from my typical studio, which is why I'm late. I appreciate you guys being patient and waiting. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm excited to have a great night talking about, just an unbelievable, typical, crazy trade deadline, right, Tyler?
Yep, it was very crazy. Nothing happened at all.
Absolutely nothing happened. You guys might not know this, but Tyler is just really famous, and he actually invented zero RB. I don't know if everybody knows.
Oh, I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I invented it. I actually did it first. Yeah. I started it in 2009. So actually, I take credit. I do. I'll take credit for it. I'll own it.
I actually saw that you started it back in the 90s at some point.
Yeah. Well, I was only alive for half of the 90s.
Right. Somehow you still did it. Like, that's how much of a genius
I was so great that I invented it before I was born. That's what I did.
Very good. Well, if you're joining us for the first time, we appreciate you tuning in. If you're here and normally part of our incredible community of YouTube commenters, we appreciate you for joining us again. For that group, you already know this, what I'm about to say, but for those of you tuning in, I appreciate that. And I want to tell you that you can participate in the show. This is not just me and Tyler giving you whatever we feel like telling you. This show specifically, Ask DLF, means ask us the questions that you want, the topics you want to talk about, questions you have in your Dynasty League. And as always, we are going to discuss those, talk about them. And look, I'm going to get smarter listening to Tyler. You're going to get smarter. The people in the comment section, and even Tyler, when he listens to this again in a couple of days, he's even going to get a little bit smarter. So, Tyler, you ready to get into our questions?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. First of all, as everyone knows, today is not just Ask DLF, but it is Taco Tuesday, which Tyler loves.
I hate it. Hate it. I could pretend that I like it, but I won't.
Trogdor chimes back in. Hey, who dat? Taco Tuesday indeed. Yeah, come on. Alec with our first question. Hi, guys. Would you trade King Henry for now? Would you take Claypool, Devonta, and a first for Henry and Ruggs? Now, this is
Ruggs. Ruggs is irrelevant.
Yeah, I don't know that there's anything that we can do or should do with Ruggs right now. But yeah, or perhaps Galladay. So let's look at this as Henry and Galladay for Claypool, Devonta, and a first.
Yeah, I'll take Claypool and a first. Claypool, Devonta, and a first. That's more than enough. I'm good with that trade.
A lot of really good assets right there, in my opinion. On that side, Henry and even Galladay, I just don't know that those are assets that I want to be trying to acquire.
Yeah, I don't want Henry long term, and Galladay. I haven't really liked Galladay at all either.
Right. All right. So yeah, who dat? What's up? It's Trogdor. Another one of the great things about this show, all the interaction between everyone in the YouTube comments. Go ahead and get your questions in if not already. So yeah, Alec, how many first and second would you let go for Debo? What players would you consider when rebuilding with Debo, Chase, Bateman, and Akers being your bigger names? I'm 8. Let's see, 8 and 12.
8th of 12.
8th of 12. Okay.
Yeah, 8th in the standings is what he means.
And want to rank down for more picks. Yeah, so trying to aggressively tank here.
For Debo, I don't know. Probably not buying Debo at this point. You had your chance. You had your chance to buy Debo. Now it's probably too late. Now he's so expensive.
Yeah.
I guess I would give. I'm probably not. I don't know. Am I really going to invest 2 firsts into Debo? Probably not. So you probably had your time, and now it's over. I don't think I'm ever buying Debo at his current cost.
It looks like in this case, unless I'm reading it wrong, that maybe he is selling Debo.
Selling Debo. Well, maybe then 2 firsts. Then you can maybe get in Superflex 2 firsts.
Yeah,
I would do that.
I think
Debo's pretty injury prone.
Like Chase, Bateman, and even Akers. Like I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind trying to see what you can get for those if I'm rebuilding.
Well, I don't know. Depends. Bateman, maybe. Chase, no. And
Definitely.
Akers, why sell now?
No, I can't imagine selling Chase right now.
Yeah, why sell Akers now either if you're rebuilding? Just let him sit on your IR. There's no reason to sell him now.
Jesse, oh no, Taco Tuesday's been pushed back 30 minutes. Yeah, that was my fault.
So sorry. I'm sorry that happened.
Today was a travel day for me for work, and has me in a hotel in the Houston area here. So I am
in Houston.
I'm in Houston, Texas today. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, trying to dig down to the bottom of this whole why did the Texans not trade Brandon Cooks issue.
No.
Let's see. Yeah, devastation. Sorry, Jesse. David, as a clear contender, when do you start to send the farm to separate yourself from the rest of the field?
4 weeks ago. I mean, now I guess, right? Like, sure, go for it.
Yeah, it probably depends. What would you say? Like, it probably depends on how strong of a contender you are. Like, you could have a team that your main thing is you don't want to mess it up. So sure, you go out and get some big names, but like that may not be the best thing for you either. Like if you've got a lot of people who are really producing, and you may want to upgrade from Cordero Patterson, but you may not need to right now. He looks like he's kind of a solid every week start.
So then don't. I mean,
yeah, but you also may have a team where you need to. Like if you got a running back, you got a running back spot you need to. Yes, then just don't. I think what Tyler would agree with is don't overpay for decent.
Yeah, I mean, I never like to overpay for anything, but I mean, you can acquire win now assets. You can do your best, but yeah, I mean, these kind of questions are vague. Yeah. It's hard to give. And, it's why I often brush off these kind of questions or resist answering them, is because really it's difficult to give a one size fits all answer to this question.
Yeah,
it just is. I mean, it's going to be different in every league. I don't know, where you are in the standings, if you're really at the top, if you're close to the top, the format, what picks you have. Just, are you a contender with a bunch of old players or a contender with a bunch of young players? I mean, that's also a different situation one way or another. So, yeah,
right. I am with you. Yeah, another Ty-Cal Tuesday. That's close to Taco Tuesday.
I like that.
Tuesday.
I like that.
Happy to spend it with y'all. What's up, AG? Thank you for tuning in. I have a feeling the answer is no. Can we just not talk about Henry Ruggs tonight? Yeah, I mean, that's not something I really want to discuss a lot of, mainly because I've been on the road all day and I know very little, so I don't feel very adequate to talk much about it.
I've been busy today. It's not like I haven't spent the whole day on my computer. I've been kind of out of the office for football, so to speak, today.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what I would say at this point. Really, it's sad. The whole situation is very sad. I think that's really the main takeaway for me. If people really want, you have a question, I'll answer it, but I don't have anything else to say other than that. The whole thing makes me really sad.
I think there are probably, in my case, more qualified people to talk about it. So I think I will let those people talk about those things. Jump over into Dustin's question. Evening, gents. What's the trade value strategy for running backs that won't crack my starting lineup, but still have standalone value as depth and handcuffs to other owners? For Peterson, McKissick, Wilson, with buys coming up, I mean, these are the kind of things like I don't know that I want to get rid of any kind of depth really.
What if you're rebuilding and you pick them up off waivers? I mean,
you're not willing to trade anybody, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, so take what you can get, I guess, right? I mean,
yeah.
Peterson has no value at all, so take what you can get. McKissick has some value. They might re-sign him, right? I mean, he's been pretty good. So he has some value. So I wouldn't just completely let him go for nothing. I'd try to get a third, at least. Wilson, Jeff Wilson, I assume that is. I mean, wait for him to take the field, I guess. You're not going to sell him now.
No, let's talk a little bit, though, about Peterson, because obviously, the last time we did this, we didn't have the Derrick Henry news. That wasn't part of
No, we didn't.
Wasn't part of our show. That happened after. So Adrian Peterson gets signed there. Jeffrey McNichols has been obviously a part of that offense already. We've seen AP be able to go in and pretty quickly pick up an offense like he did last year with Swift. I mean, do you expect something very similar to him kind of getting in there and being able to take on 12, 15 carries right away?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, eventually the wheels have to come off, right? I mean, his career looked over in 2017, and then he had that run with Washington where he looked better. Mm-hmm. And then Detroit, not as good. He looked good in Washington, not so much Detroit. He was fine. But I don't know. I mean, it is what it is.
Needless to say, I guess there's not really anybody in this backfield you're going to be looking to start soon, right? I mean, is the main takeaway is that this offense may have to pass the ball a little bit more. They're not going to be able to turn around and hand it to somebody.
Well, they're going to have to do that, right? I mean, what other choice do they have?
Right.
But who knows when Julio Jones is going to come back?
Yeah, gosh.
If ever, honestly.
That extra game is really messing up our injuries.
Right. That's what it is, isn't it?
Trogdor, hey, Tyler, after being deservedly harsh on Fields the last few weeks and giving me
adjective?
Okay.
Okay. That's a choice.
Sounds personal. Can you show Fields some love?
No.
What do you think?
No, I mean, it was better. But, it's the old story. When you're so bad and then you're better, seems like it's a miracle. So, no, I mean, it's nice to see him turn it around a little bit, but
yeah,
I'm not, he's not getting the value he used to have back anytime soon.
So, but I think part of your harshness was actually for not just Fields, it was Matt Nagy who was actually absent.
Well, that certainly helped. I mean, they were certainly better off without him.
Right.
But now he's going to be back.
What was more of a factor, Matt Nagy being out or Justin Fields wanting to prove to the 49ers they made the wrong choice?
Matt Nagy being out.
Yeah, that's probably right.
100%. 100%.
That's got to be part of it. If you're an athlete, you're trying to prove like you guys made the wrong choice. You could have taken me and you didn't.
I mean, sure.
Who dat? I'm 5-2 with CMC and Barkley out. Thank God they coming back. And for Darrell Henderson, yeah.
Yeah, no. Don't count your chickens on those two.
Darrell Henderson has been way better than we thought.
Henderson has been great, but with Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, talk about them coming back when they're back. Let's see them come back. Until then, I'm not so sure.
What is this? I mean, I thought an injury-riddled year for these two running backs in particular would be most detrimental to their value, maybe more than anybody else, right? Like, what does this do? I mean, like in startups next year, where do you think their ADP goes?
It's not going to be that high. I don't even know at this point. I mean, it's already dropping. It's already dropping for sure. I don't know. It's not going to, they're probably going to be second round and 1 QB, maybe.
Yeah.
Not good.
It's just, man, it just sucks. Like these are two like really talented backs that you love to see play.
These two have joined Dalvin Cook before them. They exist. People will use them. People will play with them, but they won't be part of my dynasty strategy. I'm not going to have these two on my team anymore. Some people might be interested, but it's just not for me. Too injury prone, too many issues, too old. And I'm just not going to be having, I'm always going to want to go another way. A different player. Just not going to have these two on my roster, like Dalvin Cook before them.
Yep. Let's see. So New York Fight Club exchange. That's not what it says.
We never quite figured out exactly what that was, but
do you believe KC is going to explore Gore any further, and can he gain fantasy relevance? What do you think about Mr. Gore showing up?
Sure. Why not? But no, I don't know. I mean, it looks like McKinnon worked his way into the doghouse after like a carry or two. or whatever. I don't even know what happened, but he worked his way in the doghouse. And then they changed their entire offense and made Gore the lead back on the ground, while Darrell Williams became the passing down back and got also some work on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It does make me, if they're going to involve Gore like this, it makes me a little bit more likely to believe that they're going to go back to Clyde Edwards-Helaire when he's available.
Dude, you just took the words right out of my mouth. In my opinion, it really probably means better things for CEH than it means for even Gore. Like Gore is not going to become this super.
Gore's 27 already.
Yeah, this is another example of someone who got called on, and look, to his credit, look, that's got to be an awesome moment for him, right? Like there's not, but if you go out and you spend money on him, on the waiver wire, and you acquire him, and somebody wants to trade you almost anything for him, I would take it.
Yeah, I mean, he was a college teammate of Derrick Henry, I believe.
Oh gosh, and you could probably trade. That is one of the things you could do if you have a bunch of fab left over. If you've been hesitant to spend it, like I wouldn't mind spending it on someone like this and just seeing if you can get any value out of that. In other words, almost cashing in your waiver wire dollars for draft picks if you can.
Yeah, I always would want a draft pick.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Oh man, a lot of questions. I really appreciate that. Everybody continue to send in those questions. Excited that you guys are joining us. So if you are joining us, make sure you get whatever questions you have in. It can be these trade questions, just like talk about Gore and talk about, what do you think about him? I think this is a good place to hash some of those things out, both with us and with your fellow peers here in the YouTube chat. Also, if you're on Twitter, we can't see your questions. So if you're asking questions on Twitter, it doesn't.
That's why we took down most of the Twitter streams, it looks like this week. Because if you can't ask questions and we can't respond to you,
right?
What's the point of having the Twitter stream at this point? There's no point. Yeah. We left it on the Ask DLF account because why not? But it just was clogging up the Twitters of everything else. And it was just, they almost feel like sometimes when there's more ways to watch something, you actually have less ways to watch it.
That's right.
So, or less viewers. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm having a day today, but it's fine. Let's move on to not talking about Twitter.
Jesse Riddle, welcome, dude.
Oh, thank you,
Jesse. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us. Ryan, what's up, guys? Let's go Braves. Ryan is a Phillies fan, but knows that I'm a Braves fan, so I appreciate that, Ryan.
Why are you a Braves fan?
Huh?
Why are you a Braves fan? I guess.
Okay, so couple real quick. Most of my family's from Georgia. I grew up a baseball fan. I love baseball. First love. Amazing how many people in the fantasy football industry actually started off in, with baseball or fantasy.
I'm very
baseball.
much not one of them.
Yeah, you're not one of those, but there are so many people that are. Very common. But and I've been to a World Series game every time that the Braves are in the World Series. This is the first time I'm not. But I am in Houston when they're here playing, and it looks like they're up 3-0. So Ryan, if you're watching, I can't keep up with the score and watch it because I'm paying attention to this. But if you can every now and then just post the score in the chat, I would really.
Oh my God, Ryan will so do that for you. Knowing him, he would so do that for you.
I would absolutely appreciate that because that would be awesome. So it's me, Yippers. Some of your guys' names are awesome.
I know. It's crazy.
Thank goodness for Taco Tuesdays. I'll take 10 to go, please. Yep. That's right. This is a thing. You're never getting rid of Taco Tuesday.
You know what?
Like, you're going to make it big in the fantasy industry. Like, and so 5 years from now, somebody is going to be interviewing and they're going to be like, hey, so tell me about Taco Tuesday. You're just never getting rid of this. It's always going to be a part of your bio.
It's fine. I mean, if there's one thing I'm going to hear about it, let it be that.
There you go.
It's all good.
Henry, what's up, Henry? Legend. Appreciate you joining us. Speaking of Zero RB in 2003, I played in my first high stakes PPR league, and I took 4 wide receivers to start the draft. It was called Dead Money on the message board, and I nearly won the whole damn thing. Great job, Henry. And actually, Henry, correct me if I'm wrong, but the name before Zero RB, I believe, was called Upside Down Drafting. Henry, if you're in there, please let me know. It's part of why I think this whole debate's so ridiculous. But what happened? Did you freeze?
No. Did you?
Like your screen didn't freeze, but like you look like maybe your brain froze for a second there.
I never freeze.
Fluston.
Black Panther.
Dak Mac for Kyler in a 10-team super flex.
Good question. Good question. So Kyler is worth more than Dak, but I don't know if I'm going to give up a whole other quarterback who I like long term. Maybe not for fantasy. I mean, Mac is just a QB2 at best for fantasy. He's never going to be a QB1. But in super flex, you need guys like that, even though it's only 10 teams. I think I'll go with Dak and Mac. Yeah, I think so.
See, I goes Kyler here. I just think in a 10-team league, you need more difference makers. And I just think Kyler's probably more of a difference maker than Dak is.
Kyler keeps getting these little injuries, though. And then what I've noticed about Kyler is he plays, but it's not the same. He's only the 100% upside Kyler when he's 100% healthy. If there's any little issue, he's not.
But do you ever envision a 10-team super flex team winning the championship with Mac Jones as their QB2?
Probably not, but it just value-wise, you never know what could happen. You could need him. There are bye weeks, there are injuries. In today's NFL, you have to have depth at the quarterback position. You don't know what's going to happen.
I am with you. There we go. Henry came in 3rd overall, lost in the final quarter on Monday night after leading for 4 weeks of the playoffs. Only one other team out of all teams went wide receiver, wide receiver. No one went wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, but I did. He went 4 wide receivers. There you go, Henry.
I don't remember this.
Huh?
I don't remember who I drafted last year.
Yeah.
I don't remember who I drafted this year.
I do feel like drafts were more of a like monumental like spectacle back before it was all done over the internet. Like I loved it back when it was like in person.
But I don't remember that, Cal.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
I don't. That's before my time.
It's like the same reason why you probably don't remember anybody's phone numbers because you've always plugged them into.
I remember my dad's phone number.
Like
I remember my mom's phone number and my parents' house's phone number.
Yeah,
and that's it. Those are the 3 phone numbers I know.
I remember like childhood phone numbers and things like that because you just had to dial them so many times. Here we go. Colvin, 2 QB, Ridley, and a 2022 or I don't know if that's 2022.
Or so one of those. This is where we are also 2022 and 2023 first. People don't know which one's worth more.
Okay, well, I guess he's saying a 2022 first. Or
no, that's what he's saying. One of those.
Okay. For Deontay Johnson and Jimmy G.
I mean, look, I talked about Calvin Ridley extensively. A show, it wasn't quite this length, but more than 30 minutes on Calvin Ridley alone on my own YouTube channel. And that was just on the recap show. I was live on the Start Sit show when the news dropped. So there's an additional 10, 15 minutes of that show of me talking about Calvin Ridley. So I've talked about Calvin Ridley extensively. It's hard. It's hard because, personally, I think it's amazing that he's doing what he's doing. I think it's, it's a great message to send that mental health is important and it's something that should be talked about and not hidden and all of that. And I support him in doing that. But if I'm, a dynasty manager and the dynasty fantasy football march is on, I don't really want Calvin Ridley on my dynasty team. Mm-hmm. I don't want an asset that he may come back could be forever. I mean, who knows? So I won't take that risk. With that said, though, this is not good enough. There are people, and I know they exist, who believe that this is just a blip in the road. Mm-hmm. That Calvin Ridley is going to come back and he's going to be fine. And they're 100% confident in that. Yeah. I am not 100% confident in that at all. You can't be. Those people, I think, are, a little bit, I don't want to say unaware or not cognizant of how these mental health issues work, but I'm not even sure Calvin Ridley knows that whether Calvin Ridley is going to come back or what his situation. I don't know him personally. I don't know the situation, but in this case, there are people who believe that he's just going to come back. Everything's going to be fine. There's no issue at all. And I would have to say that you can get more than this. You can. I think there are places where you can still send Ridley for Deontay Johnson straight up. I do. You know, I posted something about trading Ridley for Jalen Waddle in a small piece. And someone said, I think it was Toronto Today, was like, well, that offer sounds laughable. And I was like, laughable in what way? I was like, I'd rather have Waddle by himself than Calvin Ridley. So like,
wow, really?
But yes, I would. Oh, I don't want any part of this. I don't want any part of this from, it's hard. You have to separate. And this is very difficult for me. This is my least favorite part of doing this, is you have to separate how you feel personally from the fantasy points. And the fantasy points, people are not taking this seriously enough, in my opinion. The risk of him never coming back or coming back and never being the same is high. And people are just dismissing that. So I would like to get out now, because every week he misses, the value is just going to go down and down and down. And my idea of getting like Waddle and another piece was laughed at. So if it was laughed at, then you should go do it. You should go do it.
Yeah.
You should go do it. I mean, maybe you could get Waddle in a first. That's probably optimistic. But what if you could get Waddle and maybe someone who's underperforming like Terrace Marshall? Waddle and Terrace Marshall. Waddle in a second and a third for Calvin Ridley. You could do that. And then you get a player 4 years younger. Remember, Ridley's already turning 27 in December. It's not like he's 23 years old. It's not like you're giving up a young cornerstone asset. No, that's not what you're doing. You could get Waddle. I really like Waddle. I like his volume. He could have Deshaun Watson next year. And you get a second and a third with it. Terrace Marshall with it. Something like that. You could probably do that. So I would not do this deal. I'd like to get rid of Ridley, but this is not what I'm looking for. You can swap him straight across for Deontay Johnson. I'd like that a lot better. I'd be fine with that. Deontay Johnson is someone I have faith in to produce rest of season. Faith in Deontay Johnson. He's a year and a half younger than Ridley anyway. So I'm not sure the two were that far apart in value beforehand, honestly, with Ridley's underperformance and Johnson looking good. So at this point, I'd rather have Johnson easily. They're not close to me. I'd much rather have Johnson, but I wouldn't add a first to do it.
Yeah, I am. I don't think I'd be adding a first two. That's too much, I think, to get the other side of this. But I think we're in a little bit of uncharted territory. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, I'm glad we're in a place where he can do this. And, you know, it's very possible that this becomes the answer to, like, he is able to sort of get himself in a good place and, like,
it's possible,
have
but
the right
we
things
don't know.
set up. But we also could have him just decide, like, he wants to retire. Like, there's a lot of different things.
Very possible.
Yeah.
We don't know, and anyone telling you they know is a liar. Is a liar. You can't know because he doesn't know. So if
which
he
is why you're
know,
saying, like, hey, better to just be wrong and err on that side.
Yeah,
and get some value.
I totally agree. You can get something good, something you're happy with, without giving up. I don't want to give up future firsts to move on from this situation. But I just. Look, I feel, and I don't know if people know this because he was so high priced in the offseason. He didn't come up a lot on this show. We didn't talk about him much because there was no reason to talk about him. He was a star. I mean, everyone thought he was going to be a star. And I was right there with everyone. I mean, Calvin Ridley is one of my favorite players in the NFL.
I think we talked about buying low on him last week. Like,
I did last week.
Yeah,
I talked about buying low. I published a whole article. One of the 4 sections, the article was buying low on Calvin Ridley. The peripherals were there. Now I get why it wasn't coming together. But if you didn't know this, the peripherals were there. They were continuing to try to evolve him. The team was committed to him. The quarterback committed to him as a significant part of the offense. But you just don't know. And I think that people are understating the risk here. And I'd like to just move on, as sad as it is, because Calvin Ridley is one of my favorite players.
I agree. Well said there. Fantasy Condo, thanks for the question here. And giving us a chance to talk about Elijah Mitchell.
I'd love to talk about Elijah Mitchell.
What's his value in draft picks after his performance here with the Bears? Where are you at with him and his value?
I mean, is Elijah Mitchell ever going to be worth a first? In one QB, maybe, but in Superflex, probably not, right? Because people aren't going to trust him. You're never really going to be able to trust him. I guess he could be worth
maybe is. I get what you're saying. There's definitely like, if Trey Sermon was doing this, he would absolutely already be worth a first.
I just think that with Elijah Mitchell, I think he's the guy.
Yeah,
he's the guy, and he's not going to be replaced by anyone they have. Sermon's not going to replace him. Hasty's not going to replace him, and Wilson might come in and get a little bit more work that Hasty did as the backup. I think that's what will happen.
Yeah, me too.
I think Wilson will be the backup, or maybe he'll split. He'll have some goal line carries. He could hurt Mitchell's value, but there's no question as to who the starter is. The starter is Mitchell. I am a little worried about Wilson coming back and taking some goal line work, but I'm not worried that Wilson is going to become the starter. That's not going to happen. They're committed to Mitchell. Sermon is a complete afterthought. There are still people who think that Sermon is going to come back and take the starting job, and those people are completely delusional. I don't understand what those people are thinking at this point. It's very obvious that Kyle Shanahan absolutely despises Trey Sermon. So I don't know what happened. Something happened. But that's never going to happen. So Elijah Mitchell draft picks, though. If you're a contender, I'd say just hang on to him. I don't think you're going to get commensurate value. It's not going to help you enough. What are you going to trade him for that's going to help you more? I mean, if you get offered 2 firsts, even as a contender, I'd probably take it, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
So as a contender, I'm not shopping him. I'm keeping him. I want to keep him and play him.
Absolutely.
I mean, he has locked in. Look at the running back landscape, right? He has locked in volume on a pretty run-heavy offense for the rest of the year. What are you going to find you're not going to find better?
Right.
So, you keep him on a contender. On a rebuilder, I would try to do the best I can. I mean, I'm not going to sell for less than a first at this point. I would need a first, but I'd like to get even more than that. I think you can shoot for more.
Are you thinking in the Waddle range? I mean, something we just talked about him.
It's a little unlikely. I mean, maybe you could have Elijah Mitchell in a third for Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going to get Waddle straight up. Not with his usage. Even in a bad game last week, he had 12 targets.
Something in the Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore.
Elijah Moore's not enough. Rondale Moore, it's enough, but I mean, that would be fine. I love Rondale Moore long term. I still do. But yeah, I mean, that's what you're looking at. Elijah Moore would have to come with a second at least to get me interested.
Same here. Mace, what's up, Mace? Appreciate you tuning in here. 8-0 core of Barkley, Swift, Henderson, Patterson, CD, Jefferson, Chase, Hawk. QBs are Cousins, Wilson.
QBs are not so good. Yeah, not so good.
Yeah.
He's right about his opinion here.
Needs a QB upgrade for a push. What would you do? Have no first for the next 2 years. Yeah, that puts you
that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay,
I happen to know of a pretty cheap QB1 that you can take a chance on.
Taysom Hill. Yeah, I'm worried though. I'm worried that,
of course, you're never going to feel great. But I mean,
you're not going to feel great. And I'm worried that they want to make Trevor Siemian the starter.
Yeah, which I think is ludicrous. But
he looked good this week.
I get a lot of people think that Taysom Hill starting is ludicrous too. But I
think it is. But now they have no choice.
When backup quarterbacks come in, typically in the middle of a game, a lot of times this is what happens. But when you give a team a whole week to prepare for that backup quarterback, it doesn't always go very well. And we know what we have in Siemian. Siemian is not a good quarterback.
I mean, here's what I would do. What I would do is, look, you have it all. You have Patterson. You have let's review this for a second.
Yeah.
This team has Jefferson, Chase, and Lamb, all three, and Swift. Let's just think about that for a second. Think about how ridiculous that is.
Tremendous core. You don't need first for the next 2 years, probably. So
no, you don't need it. So look, you're here to win now.
Yeah.
I think what you got to do is you got to put Lance on the block.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I think you do. You do. You can't wait for him. You can't wait. Do you think maybe?
And Cousins is a fine QB too, by the way. If you can get yourself
Cousins,
a QB1.
You're not trading. Cousins is part of your strategy here. But
yeah,
do you think maybe you could turn Lance into, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers plus? Derek Carr plus? Give you something? Like, you can definitely get Derek Carr plus for Lance. I know that. I know that. That I know you can do. You can get that done.
What about Tom Brady?
I don't mind it, but
I don't give up Lance for him. But what if you could work a deal with Wilson and maybe like whether it's a second or something like that? Try to get Brady in a third.
Yes, but what I'd be really interested in doing is
I'm worried about Wilson now. Like watching White come in the way he did, I'm definitely more worried about him than I was prior to that. And there was
hanging on to Wilson. Lance, because Wilson you can't trade anyway. Lance, I would try to get rid of. And I don't know, like, could you do something where I'm trying to think, like, could you trade Lance for a much worse quarterback with Barkley for a better running back somehow? Like, would might that be possible?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there are options, but yeah, you need to acquire a quarterback. But I wouldn't break up your core of CD, Jefferson, Chase. I'd hang on to Zach Wilson because his trade value is just so low. I don't think he's going to help you, and he's going to start when he comes back. But I don't think that's going to help you.
Yeah, I'm more thinking like what would be appealing to a rebuilding team. I think you're dead on with Lance. That's the one you want to try to see how much value you can get.
Yeah, I'm also fine. I'm fine putting Swift on the block if you could get, but I don't know how this is going to get you to a quarterback. But if you do something like Swift for, I mean, how desperate are you? Like this is a team to win. So like if you do Swift for like Austin Eckler, and let's say a rebuilder has Austin Eckler and Tom Brady, could you trade Swift for Eckler and Brady from a rebuilder, and they would go to Swift, figuring that Brady's dying anyway?
I just don't know that I'd want to do that. Not with having no first for the next 2 years. I just feel like
that's 8-0. Championship pays
flags fly forever. I know, I get you,
right? But you might struggle. I don't know how you're 8-0 with these quarterbacks, but you might struggle to get over the line if this is all you have. Flags fly forever. I mean, and then I'm so sorry. You're gonna do your rebuild around CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. Don't trade them. So because if it goes wrong, you have them, and then you just stick with them. But
I like it.
Like,
I like it.
You get a little bit of rope when you have Lamb, Jefferson, and Chase to build around. You can make a mistake or two, and you'll survive it long term anyway.
Built a good team here, Mace.
You have the top 3 1 QB assets on one team, and Swift is, right in the tier with them.
Ryan, what are you looking to get for Keenan Allen in a rebuild?
Man, I wish you'd sold Keenan Allen already.
I sold him in the offseason in a 1 QB 14-team league for 2 firsts.
I think I said it with Keenan Allen is I didn't want to see it. I just wanted to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's tough because now the big 3-0 is coming in the offseason. People know it. It's halfway through this season. But I would say Keenan Allen is must move, right? He's must move in a rebuild. He's actively hurting you.
Absolutely. Yeah, the value trend is not going to go up.
Take what you can get.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I mean, in a rebuild, do you think we're still at the point where you can get Rashad Bateman or Kadarius Toney straight up? No, right? No.
Oh. Yeah.
You do? I don't think you can.
Oh, man.
I think we're past that point. I don't think you can get Kadarius Toney or Rashad Bateman straight up for Keenan Allen. Definitely not. I don't think so.
I think if you have Kadarius Toney, you're worried about his injuries right now. And you may be able to pull
Kadarius Toney is every time he's been on the field, he's looked explosive.
I know.
So people see it and they're going to be like, oh, I want that. You're just not going to be able to do that. I don't know what you can get really for Keenan Allen at this point. You probably maybe add a couple of thirds to Keenan Allen to get a first. You're not going to get a first anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, but in a rebuild, he's a must move. So worst comes to worst, take what you can get. If it's a second in Van Jefferson and that's all you can get, for example, take it. It's better than not making a move.
Ed says, don't overpay ever.
Flags fly forever, Ed. People always think that I'm like the, never do that. But, I'm not willing to overpay 50%. But if I have to overpay 10, 15% and it's going to be the deal that pushes me over, I'll do it.
Oh, I just struggle with that because Dynasty is you're not thinking about one championship with a dynasty.
Yeah,
If
but
I'm
I'm
building a
me.
dynasty, I'm thinking about having a championship run
But
of
Cal,
multiple years.
I'm me. If I pay 10 to 15% overpay once, I'm grinding every day
Yeah,
to
I
get an
hear you.
edge over these people.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
hear you.
like from anyone who's played with me, they know that I'm the most ruthless dynasty manager out there. I'll scratch and claw to get it back later. I don't care what it takes. So, you know, flags fly forever. And, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Jesse is 7-1 in a 12-team Superflex PPR dynasty. Wide receivers Tyreek, Bobby Trees, AB, and then Ridley. Oof. Would you swap a 2022 projected late first for Ridley for Evans and a projected 2022 second?
I don't want to. I don't want to because this is the same thing as the other trade. Actually, this is worse though because I'm less interested in Evans than I was in Deontay Johnson.
Bingo.
So no, I think we're missing the point with Ridley. I don't want to pay a first to get rid of Ridley.
Well, I just think the bar, like if you have a first and Ridley, I just think some of these are aiming too low.
Well, there are people. I'm telling you, they're out there. I mean, our own Ryan McDowell is one of them who's saying buy low, buy low, buy low. Addison, same thing. He's saying buy low, buy low, buy low. You know, clearly there are people at DLF who don't agree with me. They don't agree with me, and they're, you know, two of the most respected people I respect the most in this industry, in the dynasty industry. Their opinions they've been around in the dynasty community way longer than me, and you know they have, you know, more experience than me, and I respect their opinion immensely. So they're saying buy. I'm Calvin Ridley, buy him. So if they say that means people must agree with them, right? Other people must feel the way that they do.
People are going to follow that, sure.
So you can get a better deal than this because there are a lot of people who feel that this is just a blip in the road for Ridley. So I would not do this trade. This is not good enough. I want to do better than that.
7-1. I agree that you need to make a move here. Your wide receivers are not good enough to sustain that, Jesse. You need to make a move, but I just don't think Evans is the one I'd be wanting to.
It's more the first. It's more I'm not paying a first to do this.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that like screws you long term.
Yeah.
And this is not what I want to do. I think you can do a little bit better. And you have 10 other managers in your league. You can explore other options. You're going to find someone who believes in Ridley. I've seen Ridley across Patreon leagues moved about 10 times since the news. So you will find differing prices. You will find there's always someone willing to buy. So keep looking. Don't just get hung up on this one manager. You always want to try everybody. That's because, you know, never leave a stone unturned.
Eli says rebuilding team 1 QB core is Chase, CD, Pitts, Dobbins, Hunt. Big fall off, which is why I'm considering trading CD or Chase. Do you think it's a good idea? And if so, what's Chase's value?
If the other manager's souls are on the table, I'll consider it. But otherwise, no.
I don't.
It's a terrible idea. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to trade Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb. In a 1 QB, you don't even have quarterbacks to play with. So, you know, these are your cornerstone assets. These are your assets. These are what you build your team around. In a rebuild, this is what you start with. These are the first pieces you put into place. So I won't be trading Chase or CeeDee Lamb. Hunt, I would like to trade. I when he comes back, I'd like to trade him. Dobbins, same thing. When Dobbins is cleared, but before he actually gets on the field, I'd like to move him. He's not really a part of my long-term plans in a rebuild. Pitts, remember what I just said about Chase and Lamb? Double that and apply it to Kyle Pitts. You can't replace him. He's irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Production at that age, at the tight end position, cannot replace him. So build around Chase, Lamb, and Pitts and work on getting rid of Hunt when he comes back. Get rid of Dobbins when he's healthy and cleared and, you know, he regains his value. And then if you have nothing else, you have 3 cornerstone pieces to build around and you'll be able to get some high draft picks and fill in from there. That's my recommendation.
Perfect. I like it.
To answer Chase's value, it's in a 1 QB it would take 4 firsts to even open a conversation with me.
I said on Twitter, the only way I'm trading Chase is if I get Tom Brady's 600 touchdown pass ball. That's the only way I'm doing it.
It would take 4 firsts to even open a conversation. So that's his value.
Zach C, thoughts on trading 2022 third and Galladay and receiving Ridley in a 2022 fourth? I would trade this to get Ridley.
I would take the Ridley side here because we've heard about what the turnaround trades are for Ridley, and they're better than this.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of, it's a totally different issue. But speaking of players where I'm like confident that there's a major problem, Kenny Galladay is one of those players. There's some injury with Kenny Galladay that we don't know about that's preventing him from being effective. Because really, the last time we saw Kenny Galladay be Kenny Galladay was week 5 of last year. To me, Kenny Galladay is entering Michael Thomas territory, except Kenny Galladay is not Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is one of the best wide receivers in the league, and Kenny Galladay is not. So, yeah, I don't want any part of Kenny Galladay, period. So I guess I'll take Ridley here and hope that I can flip it. Galladay is November 93. I think November 21st, 93. I'm not 100% sure.
So about to turn 28.
September. I don't even know. The ages are, but yeah, he's 28 or turning it.
Right. I feel like he's consistently older than people think.
Yeah, because he was a 2017 draft class, so he's a 27-year-old rookie. Or 24-year-old rookie.
Right.
But yeah, I'll take the Ridley side here, and then I'd like to flip Ridley immediately. But Galladay to me is losing most of his dynasty value very fast. I have no interest in him.
Absolutely, that'd be a good trade, Zach. Do that. Ryan, up to the Mitch Trubisky didn't get traded today. He will land a starting job next season.
There were rumors he was good. These rumors came from the Bills message board.
Yeah, I agree. I think
No, that wasn't a joke. I was being serious. Those rumors came. I know this from reading the internet. These rumors came from a Bills forum. They were bullshit.
Where most of this stuff comes from. Like most of the stuff doesn't have any.
They were bullshit. You know how you know that they're total bullshit? If you're the Bills and you have Mitch Trubisky as a competent backup, and you're going on a playoff push. What if Josh Allen has to miss a couple of games? Why are you trading Mitch Trubisky away?
Why would you trade him? That's what I keep saying.
These rumors were complete and utter garbage. There was zero truth to them. They were literally started on a Bills message board. So no reason to talk about them.
It's better for Trubisky to get a whole year under the offensive coordinator there, Brian Dable, and then when Brian Dable gets a head coaching job next year, to go with him. That's better for Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky's not going to be a starter anywhere.
He'll be a starter next year with Dable. Watch.
No, he won't.
Yeah, that's what's happening. I'm telling you.
No, I don't think so. I think he might get.
Listen, I heard on the Bills message board. Okay,
I'm sure you did. What's happening. He might get a better opportunity than what he's looking at now, but I don't think he's going to be a starter.
Very good. Patrick Pichette says, are there any players you'd be looking to increase your shares in? Who are you looking to buy? And then do you want to sell because you think their value?
Well, I mean, I dropped my article on DLF and I'll put the link. I will put the link.
I like this spin on it.
Moves to make
to increase shares of, I like this different terminology. It's good. Creative.
Patrick. Well, these were contending buys. So, you can take, I talked about Calvin Ridley. You can take that one piece and just throw it away. Obviously, that is no longer relevant. Talked about Jalen Hurts if you were a contender, because I think you can get him for cheaper than his production. I don't think you can access that production at that price. I would replace him with Taysom Hill if I were writing the article now. And then I also had Austin Eckler, who again, it's always the same thing. I always want to buy Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler has always remained in my dynasty landscape because he's been cheaper. I've been able, whereas Dalvin Cook is just out of it. I've been able to get similar production from Austin Eckler at like 60% of the cost. So, and then the last player I talked about was Dalton Schultz for a contender. So those are players I would be looking as a contender, Ridley aside. Especially Eckler and Schultz would be players. If you really want a good value and good production at that value, those would be two players I would consider. Then the second part is going to be coming this week. I'm going to be talking about rebuilding moves. I don't know how much I'm going to talk about that exact question, but it'll be in there in some respect. Players I'd like to sell because their value is peaking. Mike Evans, but that's been forever. I've always been saying sell Mike Evans. I still believe in selling Mike Evans. We just talked about how I want to sell Calvin Ridley, but it's not really because his value is peaking. I mean, those are a couple. A lot of the players I'm looking to sell are sell lows, like OBJ, Allen Robinson. Like I'm kind of okay with just taking what I can get.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of obvious ones, and pay attention there, Patrick, because I'm sure Tyler will come up with some really good ones for his article too. In addition to those,
I mean, but yeah, most of the players I'm looking to sell are sell lows. Cortland Sutton is a sell for me, but that's a sell low. Noah Fant, a sell for me, but that's a sell low. There's not a lot of sell highs. I'm really looking for maybe Cooper Kupp. If you can get the world for Cooper Kupp, I would consider a sell high on Cooper Kupp, depending on the offer.
So good.
I know. But let me just throw something at you. If you could get for Cooper Kupp, let's say you could get, I don't know, Chris Godwin, Michael Pittman, and a first.
You love Chris Godwin so much.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I do.
You really love Chris Godwin.
I like Michael Pittman too. But let's say you could get something like that, Chris Godwin, Michael Pittman, and a first, then maybe you would consider.
It's a great haul. Yeah.
You could ask the world for Cooper Kupp and see if you can get the world.
Caleb says, hey, Tyler and Cal. Can't think of a better way to end my birthday than to watch the show. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you for
actually touched my heart. Yeah. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Happy birthday. Tyler's gonna sing happy birthday to you now.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Okay, here. If anyone sends in a $50 super chat, I'll sing happy birthday. How about that? $50 super chat, and I'll sing happy birthday.
I don't see why Buffalo would trade Mitch. Agreed. Yeah, happy birthday, Caleb. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Here we go. What will Houston's starting QB situation look like next year?
Well, I mean, it's not going to. Deshaun Watson and Houston are not going to work out these issues. Otherwise, he'd be playing now. So they're not going to work out these issues. So he's going to be elsewhere.
They had issues before these issues.
They had issues before these other issues. So he's going to be elsewhere. I mean, it's going to have to be a drafted quarterback, right? I mean, what veteran? I mean, no veteran is going to go there. So yeah, it's going to be a quarterback that they draft. What overall pick do they have at this point? I mean, they're second overall. They're going to draft someone. I mean, they have no choice. They're going to have to. There might not be a quarterback worthy of their pick, but they're going to have to, because what's the alternative?
It's definitely not somebody that's currently on their roster. And
no, I mean, I would say they're going to clear out their quarterback room. I mean, Davis Mills is not. I mean, they'll probably keep him. I mean, he could be the backup.
I think he's a very competent backup. In a perfect world, he would have had this whole year to, kind of learn from someone. And I think there are glimpses of what could be with him. And not that it's ever going to be anything special, even from a fantasy standpoint, we need to be interested. But yeah, he could be a competent backup or maybe even a bridge to a more talented rookie that they bring in or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, they might sign a veteran as a bridge. I don't think they're going to retain Tyrod Taylor. I think they would go a different direction. If you look at who's going to be free agents, I mean, Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill will be free agents, but I don't think they'll be interested in Taysom Hill. Jameis Winston, probably not going to be healthy anytime soon, so probably not him. And then who else is there really? There's
Trubisky.
Yeah, no, he's on the list. Trubisky, Mariota, these are players that they could sign, but they're just signing them to start a couple of games or to be the veteran backup, can't battle with the rookie kind of thing.
Right.
So they'll sign someone like that, or they could re-sign Tyrod, I guess, if they like him. I don't see them trading for Garoppolo or Goff or some of Darnold, because those three I think are going to be unwanted by their current clubs after the season, and we'll see what happens to them.
What is Michael Pittman worth? We talked about him a little bit there. I know you like him a lot. He's fantastic.
He's worth a lot. I mean, I don't really want to let him go at this point. So, I mean, it's not worth 2 firsts in Superflex, but he's not that far off.
Yeah. He's one of the guys that I think has surprised me, the most. We knew that the talent was there, needed to stay healthy. He's doing that, and it's looking really good. He's getting better quarterback play than I think we expected.
Yeah, Carson Wentz has been passable, but honestly, in this last game, there were some big problems.
Yeah,
there were some big problems. I mean, really, and I actually said this about Carson Wentz a couple of times. Sometimes he locks in on one player and can throw to that one player only. Mm-hmm. And then ever throwing anyone else is not good. And it kind of seems like what we have here. He's able to throw to Pittman and not anyone else.
Yeah. Ryan says, and Ed, no reason he's a high-end backup, perfect to trade it for in Dynasty. Now, I agree. Mitch Trubisky is the kind of guy I wouldn't mind acquiring because I think he could have some value uptick in his future. We do have a super chat.
For a second, I thought someone paid the $50 super chat to hear me sing happy birthday. It was $5 super chat. Not enough to make me sing happy birthday. Okay, so your boy's been a rough week for the Ridley Truth there. Yeah, definitely. What would you want for Tua in a Superflex 12-team league? DJ Moore? Right. Need a wide receiver with bad news. Tua gets no love. Oh, you came to the wrong place. You came to the wrong place for Tua love because you're not going to get any from me. I'm happy they didn't trade for Deshaun Watson before the trade deadline. Right. At least it gives Tua an opportunity to find a new job. Deshaun Watson is going to be their quarterback as soon as it's convenient for them.
Interesting.
The Stephen Ross all but confirmed it.
Gosh, I really need I've said this before. I need a complete deconstruction of everything that's happened over the last.
We all do. We need the 30 for 30. That's what we need.
No doubt. I need to understand all the different ways this thing went back and forth and how things got out there and all that. But like you said, it's good that he's going to have an opportunity to now get out there, get some things on tape, get some
job audition. Deshaun Watson. Look, the odds of Tua being Miami's 2022 starter are the same as the odds of Deshaun Watson goes to jail. Whatever those, they're the same. Unless Deshaun Watson goes to jail. So whatever percentage chance you think that is, then maybe he won't be the Dolphins starter. Unless he goes to jail. If he doesn't go to jail, then he will be the Dolphins starter. He will. There's zero doubt in my mind at this point. The evidence is clear. They would have done the trade. I think if they were 4-4, they would have done the trade. It's just for them, there's no reason to do the trade now. It doesn't do them any good. So, I get it, but it's unfair to Tua, really. I mean, he didn't really do anything to cause that, except not be great. I mean, he did do that. If he were great, we wouldn't be having this conversation. If he were great, Herbert or Burrow level, if he were that level, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So
I would say he's been better than
not this week.
This week against Buffalo, who's the number one team against the pass right now in the league.
Right, but it's going to have to at some point. There's going to have to be an end to the excuses. Like it was good last week, but the week before, but he cost them the game. I mean, his interception was terrible and it cost them the game 2 weeks ago. And now this week he comes in and just literally looks like he's not an NFL quarterback at all. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what good is there to say about his performance this week?
So in a super flex league here, you would rank DJ Moore above Tua.
Oh yeah. I mean,
how much further ahead? Close.
How many what?
How much further ahead would he be?
But they're not even close. They're not even the same. They're not even the same conversation.
How many rounds?
More than 3.
Wow.
They're not even the same. They're not even the same conversation. They're not. They're not in the same conversation.
I think you kind of have to think Tua's just going to wash out of the league if you say that.
No, you don't have to think he's going to wash out of the league. You just have to think that he's not going to be a long-term franchise starter, and I don't. So
yeah. I know you're high on the value of quarterbacks in a 12-team league, so that's
not true.
Surprises
I'm high on the value. Not true. Not true. I want the people to hear it. It's not true. I'm high on the value of good quarterbacks. I am. No, it's important. I'm high on the value of high-end good quarterbacks. Tua is not one of them. Okay. So I'm lower than most on the value of middling quarterbacks. I dislike them generally. I generally prefer to pay up for the big quarterbacks, the ones I really like.
Yeah.
And I want to have 2 or 3 of those. I don't want to be relying on Tua, because then you're relying on nothing. Then you have nothing. You could have nothing like you had this week. So, I don't want any part of that. So I DJ more easily. They're nowhere near each other.
Ed agrees with me. He thinks, it goes with the Bills OC to Vegas. That would be an interesting move. Talking about Mitch Trubisky.
No. That's not an interesting move. Vegas is not getting rid of Derek Carr. Derek Carr has played exceptionally well this season. And you know what? He played exceptionally well last season. You know what? Kind of played pretty well the year before. They're not getting rid of Derek Carr. They're not. There are not 20 They're not even. I mean, Derek Carr is one of the best 20 quarterbacks on planet Earth right now. Derek Carr will be starting for Vegas next year. You can
go back up Derek Carr.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, maybe. That's a possibility.
That'd be worst case scenario for Trubisky, though. You don't want that.
I'm just saying that Derek Carr, I'm more confident about Derek Carr's long-term job security than Kirk Cousins' job security, for example. Like, Vegas is more committed to Carr than Minnesota is committed to Cousins.
Agree with that. Okay, let's go through a couple more of these here. Not a couple more. We got a bunch more. So, Sonny Stokes, devastated Henry owner, CEH on IR. Who should my top waiver priority be this week? Currently have Patterson, Edmonds, and Booker.
Well, I mean, that depends on who's on waivers, right?
Obviously depends on who's on waivers.
I don't know. It's who's on waivers. If you tell me who's on waivers, I'll rank them for you.
So let's say like Adrian Peterson, Gore.
You talking Dynasty? Yeah, got to be Dynasty. We're Dynasty show.
Hopefully that's.
Well, I mean, Adrian Peterson and Gore would be on waivers in Dynasty. So I go Adrian Peterson if you need someone.
Maybe
I don't think Gore is much of anything.
Mark Ingram.
Doubt he's on waivers.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
He was starting at the beginning of the year. I don't think he worked his way on a Dynasty waiver wire.
Sonny,
if he were, I would rather have. They've signed Mark Ingram to a contract extension for next year. Yes, really. Yeah. I'm surprised by that.
Sonny, if you're still listening, go ahead and hit us up in the comments here and tell us like kind of who you got your eye on, who you think the top.
But I mean, Peterson and Gore are on every waiver wire. They're right. They're available. So I would go Peterson and then Gore if it's that kind of league where everyone's already rostered.
Yeah. Agreed, Ryan. Yeah, that's what I said on one of the recaps. Sits with Tyler. Don't know if it's Vegas, but I think it was David Dable. Yep. Fluston, Zeke Mack for Kyler. Kyler team had Henry go down, contending, offer more or less.
So you're offering Zeke and Mack for Kyler, then yes, I would take Kyler.
Same. Yeah, that's a good deal.
Easily.
Assuming super flex, right? You're not doing this in a 1 QB.
No, of course not. In a 1 QB, Zeke's worth more than Kyler.
Yep.
But in a super flex, those Kyler types are typically unbuyable. So this is not a ridiculous price. So I would pay it easily without a second thought. I mean, Zeke Mack and a first for Kyler would be a fair offer. Zeke and Mack for Kyler is a steal.
Right. Dustin, appreciate the insight. Asked the question about the value of guys like Peterson and McKissick because I don't want to drop them for nothing, but they are blocking a roster spot for Bateman from the taxi squad. This is where things get a little bit interesting because you do sometimes have to make these types of decisions. Push come to shove, you got to drop one of them. But but you're trying to get value when you can't. Oh, basically the same thing the Rams did with Deshaun Jackson today.
Yeah.
They were trying to
trade them then.
Some value, and then they just dropped him.
Try to trade him.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
About McKissick, I'm not dropping McKissick no matter what.
No, you really shouldn't drop. He's not someone you want to. I can see being in a position where you're like, I'm never going to start this guy, and he's just clogging up a roster spot. You need to trade him.
With Antonio Gibson's recent performance, I think that you might be starting McKissick in the very near future.
It's possible. I hate that.
I think that Antonio Gibson doesn't make it through the season. So if you're a contender, I think you prepare now. Prepare now that Antonio Gibson, once they're out of the running completely from the playoffs, will be shut down because he's not healthy. And a stress fracture takes months to heal. So once they're out of the running, I prepare for them to shut Antonio Gibson down.
Is it time for Jarrett Patterson, maybe?
Oh, he should be added. I mean, if he's on waivers in your Dynasty League, he shouldn't be.
Right.
Redraft, I mean, probably not. I'm probably not wasting my time on Jarrett Patterson right now because they're on a bye week, and then I think Tampa Bay and Carolina are coming. So 2 terrible matchups. I'm probably not wasting my time on Jarrett Patterson until Antonio Gibson is shut down as imminent. But in a Dynasty, he should definitely be on a roster 100%. He should have been already. He should have been from the beginning, honestly.
Absolutely. I agree. Okay, BJ Lee, biggest play or jumps after this week, any position. So did anybody gain
about it? We talked about it earlier. It's Pittman.
Yeah.
Pittman for me is a big jumper.
Elijah Mitchell kind of did a little bit of cementing of himself, I think.
A little, but I didn't. I already believed.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't believe in Pittman, but Pittman did more to change my view than Mitchell. Not that Mitchell had a bad game or anything, but Pittman changed my opinion more between the two. But Mitchell would be another good name. A couple other players who had a decent week. I mean, those are really the 2 big ones, though. Pittman and then Mitchell. Oh, Michael Carter, of course. Michael Carter. That's another one. Michael Carter had a big game. He really, cemented himself as now the favorite to be the Jets 2022 running back starter. I think so.
Yeah. Really good names right there. Let's see. Fluston, should I be putting Jamar Chase on the trade block, given how hyped he is now? What would you accept?
Sure. I mean, if DK Metcalf and 2 firsts are available, then sure.
I would not be putting him on the block. Like, to me, like that, it just I can't imagine.
You can put him on the block, but you're probably not going to get an offer that I would accept.
It's just not fun to trade a guy like that. Like, I just cannot imagine. Like,
well, I mean,
great. Like, you're not going to look at a trade and be like, "Oh, I'm so glad I traded away Jamar Chase."
If you got DK Metcalf in 2 firsts, I think you could live with it.
I'm just not going to do it. I'm just
saying, put him on the block, but don't expect to trade him.
Let's see. Will it ever be higher than it is now?
Well, it literally can't be higher than it is now. But just because that's the case doesn't mean you should move him. Put him on the block if you want. I mean, see what you get.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you not to try.
Any players that you're thinking about picking up this week in a deeper league? I think we named.
Well, we mentioned Derek Gore and Adrian Peterson as 2 players who were probably on waivers in almost every league. Jeremy McNichols, same reason as Adrian Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably on waivers in almost every league.
I feel like I would prioritize McNichols over Peterson right now.
Yeah, I guess so. You want a really deep name? I'll give you a deep one. I did some research on this.
Is it deeper than Derek Gore?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I would take, if you're in a really deep league, I would look at Ben Skowronek.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
I have no idea who Ben Skowronek is.
Ben Skowronek. So he was the Rams' 7th round choice this year, receiver. They cut Deshaun Jackson. They placed Tutu Atwell on season-ending IR. So Ben Skowronek came in and he had 3 receptions for 30 yards. The Rams' offense is potent, and they've just eliminated their other 2 backups at the receiver position to the big 3 of Kupp, Woods, and Jefferson. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a really deep league and you're really desperate, and I would consider adding Ben Skowronek on waivers. So there's a deep name for you.
How about Albert O?
I don't think Albert O is on waivers in most leagues, actually, because he flashed at the beginning of the year. If he is, he would be a must-add.
Just wondering if maybe through the bye week somebody.
Well, Santa's on the COVID list now, so he would be a must-add. But I just didn't include him because I don't think he's on waivers. I really don't. I told people to pick him up when he flashed the first time, and I just think I haven't seen him hit a lot of waiver wires. I think he's mostly already rostered.
I just saw how many questions we have, and we're gonna have to hurry up here. Okay, so
we just don't get to them all. It's it is what it is.
We're going to try to go through the lightning round. We'll be here about 20 minutes. We may do a little bit of overtime depending on how things go, but we're going to try and get to as many as we can. Ryan, not a contender this year, just received this offer from a contender. I received Waddle, Derrick Henry, and a 2023 second for Barkley and Big Ben.
Well, I mean, Ben is worth nothing if you're not a contender. Waddle, I like. Oh, it's such a weird offer.
Yeah. I might start over here, Ryan, and try to do something a little bit different. I like the idea of trading away.
Also, I think that you should try to sell Barkley and Big Ben separately.
Yes.
Like, why don't you just try getting a 23 second for Big Ben alone? And then once you've done that, because Big Ben's worth nothing to you. He's actively hurting you if you're a rebuilder. He's scoring you points you don't want. And then with Barkley, I think you just wait until Barkley, the week he's going to be activated. Don't wait till he plays. The week he's going to be activated, the week he will play.
Yep.
Get rid of him. But I don't want Derrick Henry. That's just going from one issue to another issue. So, and if Barkley comes back, he has more value potential than Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's dynasty value is dead in the water now. Because
don't acquire Derrick Henry. Don't acquire him.
Yeah. And he's going to be a 28-year-old running back next offseason. I think this injury is going to take out about 50% of his market. So I like getting Waddle, but I would just start over here completely.
Yeah.
Don't forget
to hit that like button. Yep. Smash the thumbs up button. Make sure
subscribe button that. Too. Don't forget that one.
Alec, I got rid of Henderson in a rebuild for Mooney, OBJ, second and a third. Should he have gotten more?
I think you should have gotten more. It's none of this is appealing to me. I guess I'm not happy with this return. It's not good enough.
I'm not either. Mostly because I think I'm disappointed in Mooney. If Mooney was having the kind of season I think we hoped for, then maybe I'd feel a little bit better.
Mooney's been fine. He is what he is. He's kind of had the season I expected. OBJ is totally worthless at this point. And
absolutely. Second and third.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough. I want, how about 2 things I like instead of 4 things I don't?
Yeah.
Not that a second I dislike, but like, but maybe something else with that second. Like, how about if instead of Mooney, OBJ in third, how about Elijah Moore in a second? How about that? That would be better.
Something like that.
I'd rather have Elijah Moore than that trio of not Elijah Moore. But Rashad Bateman in a second would be even better. That would be, or Kadarius Toney in a second would be even better. I would like that even more than Elijah Moore.
Jacob Callaway, 12-team Superflex, rebuilding and probably won't be competitive until 23 or 24. Thoughts on flipping JT into Devonta Smith, 2022 first, 2023 first, and a 2024 first.
I mean, if you're really rebuilding and your team is absolutely awful, then this is fine. This is fine. You're getting first, and Devonta Smith is a receiver, a long-term asset. This is fine. I think you can do better, but I would like it if it was 222 first, 23 first, and Devonta Smith. But honestly, that's probably asking too much in a super flex for JT. You're not going to get that. So I'm not sure you're going to get a better offer. Like a 23 first and 22 first are almost equivalent in value at this point. And Devonta Smith is worth about a first. And Superflex, if not, if it's close. So you're getting 3 firsts, and then a 24 first is worth less than a first, but it's still worth more than a second. So, I don't think you're going to do better than this offer. So if you're really rebuilding and you have nothing, then I would accept it.
Quick answer. What draft picks would you trade for Michael Pittman?
My answer is the same as Deebo Samuel. You've missed your opportunity to trade for Michael Pittman.
There apparently was a moonshot by Solaire. I like it. This is really good news. I appreciate the update there. Hey guys, thin at running back. I've been offered Fournette. What do you think is fair? Okay, so I get this is maybe one of those where it's like, hey, I need a running back. Okay, hey, Fournette. What would you give me?
I mean, I don't want to give up a first worth of value for Fournette, but if I can get him for less than that, I'd probably take it.
Bingo. Wouldn't sell Chase for less than.
I want way more than 2
first. I want more than 2 first. How much is Jackson being cut? Help Van Jefferson.
It doesn't help him at all in the practical perspective, but it helps him in the confidence perspective. I think Atwell going to IR actually helps him more than Jackson being cut. So, no, it helps, but I raised his value a little bit from those combination of events. I like Van Jefferson because there's a possibility they're in real cap trouble. So they're not going to be able to hang on to Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods forever.
Fluston, do I need to add more to Zeke and Mac Jones for Kyler? Continuing team Kyler, they lost Henry. Yeah, so
you do. You need to add more, but let's see, don't add too much more.
Yes. At what point do I change my handle to Judy Truther? Oh,
you can always change it. I love Judy.
Yeah.
I love Judy.
Judley Truther? Maybe combine it. See if that works.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I got a first for Eli Mitchell after his bigger game sold to the Sermon owner when it was clear he was a bust, but that same strategy did not work out in other leagues. Yeah, it is kind of league dependent.
Can't get a first, just don't bother though.
Agreed. Yeah, Shani loves Jeff Wilson. I just don't think he's ever really done a split backfield. If you look through his history, it just hasn't really worked out that way. Somebody is done. Lead back.
Yeah, Mitchell is the lead back, but I think Wilson might get some work. And if he gets goal line, it could hurt Mitchell's value. But to me, there's no chance that a healthy Mitchell is going to get benched for anyone that they have. I think you get benched for someone else that they bring in. That's why I'm not going to raise his value that high. But I don't think he's going to get benched for anyone they have.
Will says have my first and the third place teams first. That must have been from a comment earlier. Yeah, from earlier. Dynasty Vipers admire grinds more than anyone. Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay. I think we talked about this one with Tua. Yeah, we did answer a Tua question for Ridley. Over 24 hours. What's up? What's up, dude? Appreciate you tuning in. Hey, boys, my favorite show. What is Kupp's value? We talked about him a little bit. Superflex PPR and 0.25 points per carry. Would you trade Jacobs for Kupp?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Next.
2023 first for Kupp.
Absolutely.
Jacobs plus. Yeah.
What's the plus? Jacobs and a 23 first might get you talking.
Yeah. Yes. Combine those, I think.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah. Especially if you're
not going to get him for that, though.
Go get Kupp. If you're content, that's the guy to go get.
Yeah, maybe
5-0 Braves. Yes, and I think I just saw that it is 6-0. So I am ecstatic right now. I am trying to contain my excitement. Okay, Riley Tanabe 3-5 and a 12-team Superflex PPR looking to trade Eckler. Have terrible wide receivers. Eckler, Cooks, and A-Rob for Hollywood, Moore, and Edmonds, or
DJ Moore.
Eckler for 2 late first and Judy. That one.
I'd smash either of these. If that's DJ Moore, then I'd take DJ Moore for all of that alone, let alone with Hollywood.
You're right. There's a lot of Moores.
It's got to be. If that's. Oh, yeah. He added context to DJ Moore. These are both smash accepts. I think I would prefer the second deal, though.
Me too.
Because then at least I'm not stuck with Edmonds, who I don't want. And Hollywood in a rebuild I'm okay with, but I'm not. 2 first and Judy, I really want. So I think I'd go with option B, but I really want DJ Moore. And also the second one lets me get rid. The first one lets me get rid of Cooks and A-Rob, both of whom I don't want. These are both smash accepts.
Perfect.
Yeah, easily take the non-Eckler side in both.
5-0 Atlanta. Dansby Swanson with the long ball. Love that. Let's go. Let's go Braves. Let's see. Second part to my question is DJ Moore asking enough or too much for Tua?
Way too much. You're never getting DJ Moore for Tua. Maybe you were getting that at the beginning of the season, but not now.
AG, should he be shipping Cortland Sutton and AD for Bateman in a second?
Good luck with that. Bateman's worth more than Sutton at this point. Sutton lost most of his value last week. We saw what happened. Judy came back and suddenly Sutton useless. Fant. And that was Judy's first game back. Sutton completely useless. Fant useless. Exactly what I said would happen. Is the second Judy came back, Useless, both of them. And now Alberto was also part of the problem. Alberto came in and he took some targets away from Fant too. And it's not like Fant was on the COVID list during the game. So no. You can never get this deal done. If you can, I would do it immediately. But you can't make this trade. You can try, but I don't think you're gonna get it done, personally.
Where's my guy in here who's the big Fant fan? My faith is wavering. Gotta bump me up, dude.
My faith is done. Done with Noah Fant.
Dustin,
completely done.
10-team Superflex 5-3 contender with Cooks. Feel like I'm living dangerously and would like to trade him now while he is 28, but feels wrong while contending. Have Chase, both Moores and Bateman.
Yeah, you can't afford to trade Cooks. Just hang on to him and try to win. Nobody likes Cooks. You're not going to be able to get any return for him. So just, if you're a contender, keep him.
Patrick wants to know if hanging on to if Drew Lock has any chance to be a starter again in Denver. What do you think?
No, they named Bridgewater captain at the start of the season. They're 4-4. Yeah, they traded Von Miller, but they didn't continue. I mean, they made some other moves, but no, I don't think so. I don't think they see Drew Lock as a long-term possibility at all. So no, my answer is no. I think that Denver's starting quarterback is either Aaron Rodgers or it's a rookie in next year's class or something else, but it's not one of the two guys they have.
SCP, do I draft or trade to Fox? I don't know what that means. To Fox RB?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
One QB, tight end premium, wide receiver, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, Lamb.
Fix RB.
Wait, what?
Fix. He's asking about fixing it.
He wants to fix it. Fox RB was a different strategy. I don't know what this is.
No. Is RB really that bad here? I mean, he has Javonte, he has Carter. I mean, he has some firsts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wouldn't trade it. I mean, you have a lot of young wide receivers. I think keep it rolling. Look at this team. I mean, you have AJ Brown, you have Chase, Lamb, you have Waddle. You have 6 young receivers I like. And
I would trade Claypool. That's the move I would make right here.
You could afford to trade Claypool for sure. Yep. But you have Pitts and Goddard in premium. I mean, you have Javonte, who is great long-term, Carter, who's starting to break out. Yep. I don't think RB really needs to be fixed. I mean, how are you going to fix it? Depends on where your record is, too.
Let's see. Young's World, thank you for the question. 12-team, full PPR, 2 flex Dynasty, first season starters. Okay, there's his team. Trade ideas. It's tough. We are getting close to the end of our show here.
This is a tough question for me. Patreon helps with this.
Yeah.
I'll put the link in the chat. I just upgraded my annual discount to 15%. So if you're interested, I'm offering a cheap deal. If you want to sign up with me long term, you get a year of me. But yeah, there's the link. So yeah. Trade ideas are tough for me on the show without any context.
Yeah. Let's see. 2 weeks ago, traded Tua, Jacoby.
Brissett.
Oh, interesting. Dalvin, Madison, Jones, third, 4, Mahomes, Etienne, Edmonds, and a second. Mahomes has rewarded me with 2 terrible games. Still feel good though.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see.
That's my article.
Oh, there's your article. 6-0 Braves. Let's go. All right, Patrick, thanks for plugging your article. I hadn't noticed until
I try to plug my articles. They get lost in the shuffle, though. They're the one thing of mine that gets read even if I don't plug it. So that's why sometimes I don't plug it as much, because it'll still get views with whether I plug it or not.
What is CEH worth right now?
Well, he's worth less than a first in Superflex, and I'm not even paying a first in 1 QB.
Perfect. Yeah, I wish we could get Eckler owner 2 and 6. Yeah, so that's from that question earlier.
Yeah, and then he said he's not close. So this Eckler owner sounds a little delusional.
Spencer Rattler saved Houston from drafting him by lighting his value on fire. Hope he turns it around for 2023.
I mean, I'm not a Debbie guy, but I mean, Houston's going to draft someone early. They have no choice.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, they will, because they have to.
Would you be trading David Montgomery for Claypool in a rebuild?
Yes. Yes, because Khalil Herbert has made that a committee permanently. So,
I'm not the biggest Claypool guy, but
this isn't close.
Montgomery's value, you have to think it's taken a
Montgomery's value has tanked because I'm like Khalil Herbert is not going away. He's gonna be Tariq Cohen and more. Like you're talking about, he's gonna be Damian Williams and more than that at the start of the season. It was with Williams, it was a 70-30 split. What's it gonna be now?
Really Truer said Russ, Rocky, and Shane turned him into a Tua believer through the group chat.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a Tua believer. I never really have been. I was a little bit right at the beginning, but the second he took the field, I started getting out very fast.
David Ross, who do you prefer in Dynasty, DJ Moore or Deebo Samuel?
Still DJ Moore.
Me too.
Deebo Samuel, I think, is someone who's never really going to convince me that he's like a stud. So, like I said, your opportunity to buy Deebo Samuel at a price I was comfortable with is long gone.
Joey Copeland, 10-team Dynasty Superflex PPR, have those running backs. And wide receivers. I don't see the question in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the question.
Let's see. Yeah. Not working and able to watch you guys watch live. You guys rock. Thank you, Will. I appreciate you tuning in.
On Sunday, I must have answered his question. I appreciate you. I'm always happy to answer the questions from the people. I spend all week doing that.
Joey wants to know what should he do for his wide receivers. Let's see. Ridley, A-Rob, Waddle, Higgins.
Thomas. With Ridley, Michael Thomas. I see what the problem is here.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Waddle and Higgins at least. But A-Rob, Thomas, and Ridley is frustrating. I don't know. I mean, try to trade Ridley away is my answer to you. Try to trade Ridley away for someone who's playing.
It's the only thing I don't think you can trade A-Rob right now for much of anything.
No, I think you'll have better luck trading Ridley than you'll have with Robinson or Thomas.
Yep.
I do.
Ridley has Dak, Cousins, and Fields, and Geno in that league.
So he's fine at quarterback.
Keep Tua for bye weeks, but kind of drafted him in hopes to trade for a position player. Yeah, so if you get DJ Moore, that's
Tua packing.
If you get DJ Moore, it's good.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yep. Will 7-1 first place. I have two late first in 2022. Lost Tanyan. Backup is no Howard. I like that.
Yeah, not good.
Only non-contender with a big name tight end is the Waller owner. Is the 2 first too much for Waller?
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. So
he's a difference maker, and hopefully he will continue to be. And now, there's a chance that he could be a little bit more.
Yeah,
on that team.
No, I know.
Snap. It's Aunt P. I love this. Is a great name. Should I give Higgins, Chris Evans for Javonte Williams and Ayuk?
Yes.
Absolutely, you should.
Yeah, Javonte's worth more than those two combined. Javonte's worth more than all three of these combined.
Elijah Moore a first and a second for McLaurin.
Yeah, take McLaurin there. It's reasonable, but I'll take McLaurin there.
Try that. Gator fan 15. I'm in an interesting spot with my home league redraft roster. Have the likes of Keenan Allen, JT, Andrews, Kyler Murray. Also have CEH, Carson, and Ridley. Do you hold or look for adjustments?
Well, I mean, you have to make adjustments if you have CEH, Carson, and Ridley. Depends on what your record is, though, right? 7-1, it's a very different conversation than if you're 1-7.
Absolutely. The adjustments probably depend on where you stand.
Yeah. What are you adjusting to? Are you adjusting to rebuilding or are you adjusting to contending? Those are two very different conversations.
Absolutely. So let's say rebuild.
Well, I mean, then get rid of Allen. Put Ridley on the block, I guess.
Yeah.
And CH when he's activated, same thing. Put him on the block. Carson, same thing. Although Carson, good. I'm not sure.
4-4. So right in the middle.
Oh man. Yeah. I don't know. I'd probably lean toward just packing it in with that.
You might could do a partial rebuild kind of on this roster where you don't go all the way like down to the ground.
You don't get rid of JT, you don't get rid of Andrews, you don't get rid of Kyler. But
right.
I think, unfortunately, losing Ridley was the nail in your coffin for this season.
Yep.
I don't think you can survive that.
Agreed. Kelly says starters Dak, Cook, Taylor, Diggs, DK, Evans. I guess. It'll mix in with trade. I'm sure this is Evans.
It's got to be, but it's a weird way. I don't know. Evans, Wilson, and
Mixon
Mix
for Chase.
In Superflex, no. Obviously, in 1QB, yes, I would.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Is it an overpay?
No, not in 1QB. No.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's come back here. Let's see. Take a first for CEH Superflex, no doubt.
Yep. Easy.
Yep. Wouldn't really love CEH long-term personally.
No,
You agree with Ed here?
I don't trust him long-term at all. So I completely agree with Ed.
Ed, Fan is still tight end 7 with the mess that team is.
Right. He was tight end 7. He's tight end 7 despite the fact that Judy has played a game and a half. Unacceptable.
Cole just lost Henry. Can he get by with Carter, Edmonds, and Gaskin this year as a contender?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I
mean, you could be worse, but I don't think you can.
BJ says, thanks for the show, guys. Love it. And we thank you all for contributing to the show. Perfect timing. We got all the way down to the end. And that's a great show. I think you guys, Tyler,
this is a very active show and a very active chat for sure.
Chat room, you guys did a great job. Always appreciate the interaction there. And Tyler, any last words before we sign off?
No, I just want to thank the people again for tuning in. This was, I think, one of our biggest audiences ever. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I saw there were once again multiple conversations in the chat without even including us. So I love that. I love that there's interaction in the chat and we're creating like a community here. So I love to see that. And we'll be back here next week.
Keep doing great work in your Dynasty leagues. I'm going to go see if I can find the ball that Jorge Soler hit. It's 6-0 Braves. Go Braves if they win. And we will see you guys on the next show. Hit us up on Twitter at Calvin and Hobby, at DLF.